Let me ask you a question. What skin shade do you prefer? If you had an answer to that question, you could simply be the problem. When I was a young girl, I was told that the sun was my enemy. I was told that I didn't wash effectively because soap was supposedly going to remove my dark skin color away. When I was in kindergarten, I was the only dark skin in the room, not the only Indian in the room, but the only dark skin in the room. This made me feel as if I shouldn't answer any questions, if I should be chosen last, if I should hide my arms and legs because I needed to be lighter to be noticed. I would hide inside during recess because the sun would make me darker. Because I was told dark was ugly, light was pretty. One day we were supposed to do this fun activity in class where we had to draw everybody in our classroom. I drew myself way too many shades lighter just to not be noticed as dark. But as I looked around the classroom, I could easily spot myself, the dark brown girl. The activity was not fun for me. One day in swim class, this guy asked me, who was the same age as me, why I was so dark, because all he knew were light-skinned Indians. When I first visited India, I wasn't greeted with, "How are you?" But how the heck did you become so dark? When I had the courage to speak up and say that I think my skin's fine, I was shut down with, "You shouldn't disrespect your elders." Last month, I was having a conversation with my own friends who were sending pictures of girls and commenting on their skin color. They were saying how dark skins can never be pretty and justifying that by saying it was their preference. When I asked them why a preference was necessary, they replied with, and I quote, "Dark skins don't get me hard, that's why." Maybe I was being oversensitive during kindergarten. Maybe I overthought that fun activity. Maybe the kid in swim class wasn't actually trying to hurt me. That's what we get told if we talk about colorism, but no one asks, why do you feel that way? In every Bollywood movie that I watch, the mom, the dad, the cool grandma, the rebel daughter, the millionaire son are all very fair-skinned, while the maid or the villain, they're very dark-skinned. A$AP Rocky said that only fair-skinned women can pull off red lipstick, and black women are too sentimental when they're ridiculed about their looks. Young boys and girls like me can easily get brainwashed into thinking what the rest of society says. Light skin, desirable. Dark skin, undesirable. There's no one there to tell these young kids that their skin color is beautiful. But you know the hypocritical part of this though? Is that the people that told me my skin was ugly were actually dark skinned themselves. I know what you're thinking, a dark skin bringing down another dark skin? However, it's just a cycle. Dark skins were taught to hate their skin color and pass the hate onto other dark skins, while actually, we should strive to break this cycle. Before we strive to fix racism where all races are equal, colorism needs to be fixed. How are you going to strive to fix racism when your own race bashes the darker skinned ones within your own community? And preference. The lame excuse as to why they like a certain skin color more. Ask anybody why they have a preference. No valid answer, because it shouldn't be a preference. When you're willing to give every skin color a chance, there's no preference needed. Facial features, face structure, personality, yes, that's our preference, not skin. Skin shouldn't and isn't a preference. It's preference to you because it was socially constructed by generations. Take, for example, the Willie Lynch letters, a speech written by a slave owner to other slave owners. He said, "I have a foolproof method into trying to control black slaves and turn them against each other for the next 300 years at least." One of his methods was to keep the lighter-skinned slaves in the house and gave them some education, while the darker-skinned slaves always had to work in the fields and got no education. I think his methods worked tremendously into dividing people within their own community based on beauty standards. We have literally been brainwashed since the times of slavery. You know what's crazy though? 99% of my family, friends, or mutuals have a preference on skin color. They say it's just what they like. They say they can't control it. But I really want to get to the bottom of this. So I concluded that the sole problem is that people don't recognize having a preference on a skin color is the problem. The problem is that they have an opinion on which skin shade is better. I know it sounds like I'm stripping them out of their freedom of opinion, but let's go deeper. Conformity. Conformity is the adherence to group norms by group members, in this case following the crowd, by choosing the wrong answer. There's huge negative consequences to this, right? Like smoking or drinking. People conform because they want to be liked, they want to be right, or they want to feel as some sort of group. Conformity is so immense that it is proven to be more powerful than obeying authority. But you know what's better though? Non-conformity, violating the norm, and being the disturbance to the system. But let me ask you one more question. Why? Not what skin shade do you prefer, but why? If your answer to the question, what skin shade do you prefer, is anything except I do not have a preference, then ask yourself why, because you could just be believing what society has made up for you from generations. You could be conforming. And you can make up lame excuses as to why you like a certain skin shade better, but if you don't understand the problem of this question, you could simply be the problem. Don't worry though, you're not the only one. The majority of the population does. It's really hard having an opinion for ourselves. If there's a clear majority, it's very easy just to conform with them. However, when you realize that the majority opinion is not always the right opinion, then you can start thinking for yourselves. You don't have to be dark-skinned to realize that colorism exists in the world today. However, if you follow in the footsteps of generations behind, you're only holding back the better future that this world can achieve.